Good morning, gladiators. Today we will be going over the agenda for Tuesday, September 22nd. So first we're going to review APES. APES is the checklist or short answer response of how to complete a very insightful and intellectual paragraph over a specific prompt that you have been asked. So what I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to read this paragraph. There are six sentences within the paragraph, and I want you to identify in the paragraph which sentence is the A, which one does answers the prompt, which one is the text evidence that proves the answer, which sentence, more than one if perhaps, would be explaining the prompt, explaining the text evidence and your answer, and which one would be your special closing sentence. And you can write this in your L&B. So again, the prompt is, what are some contrasts in the poem Oranges? And here is the short answer response I have written for you. The speaker of the poem Oranges contrasts the cold winter setting to the warmth and bright color of his oranges. In the poem, it states, I peeled my orange that was so bright against the gray of December. The speaker is looking back to his first date, back to a cold winter memory. It is a bittersweet thrill. The weather doesn't help his cause, although the oranges, with their warmth and color, help to create a wonderful memory. Without the oranges, this memory could have been sorrowful and bleak like the winter day. So, identify what is the A, which sentence, using its number, P, E, and S. I'd like for you to email me if you want to know the answers so that I could check your understanding of APES, my asynchronous learners. So now we're going to read a poem called The Bear. It's actually just an excerpt from a longer poem. And you are going to annotate the poem on a sheet of paper or in your L&B, and you're going to use the SOAPS analysis tool. You're going to tell me who the speaker is. And when we decide who the speaker is, we should identify the tone of the speaker. Remember, tone is the emotions within the poem of the character or the narrator. And then we're going to O, what is the occasion and the setting? So maybe you'll look for imagery. A, who is the audience? And then we would identify the mood, because that's how the audience or the atmosphere of your text is feeling. What is the P, which is the author's purpose? And with the author's purpose, we might identify the theme, the message of the author. S, what is the subject or the topic of the overall poem? If you need to review SOAPs, here is a link to last week's slide when we discussed SOAPs. So this is called The Bear from Galloway Kinnell. I take a wolf's rib and whittle it sharp at both ends, and coil it up and freeze it in blubber and place it out on the fairway of the bears. And when it has vanished, I move out on the bear tracks, roaming in circles until I come to the first tentative dark splash on the earth. What might you think a dark splash on the earth is? So we have a person who is on the bear tracks, possibly tracking the bears. And I set out running, following the splashes of blood wandering over the earth, over the world. At the cut, gashed resting places, I stop and rest. At the claw marks where he lay out on his belly, to overpass some stretch of botchy ice, I lie out, dragging myself forward with bare knives in my fists. So he is acting like the bear. On the third day, I begin to starve. At nightfall, I bend down, as I knew I would, at a turd sopped in blood, and hesitate and pick it up and thrust it in my mouth and gnash it down and rise and go on running. So he might be eating the leftover of a bear kill. On the seventh day, living by now on bear blood alone, I can see his upturned carcass far ahead, a scraggled, steamy hulk, and the heavy fur rifling in the winds. So he now spots the bear. I come up to him and stare at the narrow-spaced, petty eyes and dismayed face laid back on the shoulder, the nostrils flared, catching perhaps the first taint of me as he died. So the bear has starved or is at the end of its life. The tracker has found it, and finally the bear sees him before he takes his last breath. And so you are going to decide who is the speaker and what is the tone. What is the occasion, the setting? What is the audience? That would be us, and how are we relevant? What is the mood of the poem? What is the author's purpose? What would be the overall message or the theme of this poem? And then what is the overall subject? What is happening? What is the topic? So as you read this, and you may read it several times to understand what is happening, answer those questions using SOAPs. When you are done analyzing this poem, I would like for you to go back to Schoology and finish the Bear article poem questions that we started yesterday. So yesterday we did 1 through 7 over the Bear nonfiction article, and now we will be answering questions 8 through 11. There is a short answer. I would like for you to use APES as a checklist to write this response. When you are done with that, we are going to be reading chapter 12. Tomorrow you will have time to catch up on chapters 11 and 12. If you did not get to finish these chapters, you will have a catch-up day tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow we are taking a cold read test over text features and the poem analysis tool and APES. And so I'd really like it for you to review. We've been doing that today. We did it yesterday over text features and author's purpose. Looking over your notes that we have taken in your LMB will help you to do well tomorrow. I have all the confidence that you will be successful. And if we need to give it another try and do some corrections in academic tutoring, then that would be no problem. We can do that together. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Remember, I do have academic tutoring tomorrow, today after school, starting at 4:10, and the Zoom link is in Schoology. I hope you have a wonderful day, gladiators.